Welcome back. This, of course, is K24 This Morning. Looking at the big stories of the day, of course, and right now we were just talking about the ranking as far as KCPE is concerned, both from government and media, and how we should move forward to solve this, because we do know CBC will actually remedy that particular situation. But between now and then, what do we do to make sure that such cases of making it seem like it's a do or die once the examination results are out, is that type of tension is eased? We have a tweet coming in from John Moisege saying, how did the public pay a servant to consume private while they consume public? It's a shame that we have a tilted mentality to destroy public and build private and profit just but a few. That's a message coming in right there. I think is echoing your sentiments as well, that if you're working in public sector, if you're in high levels of government, you should use those very facilities that you're there to take charge of. But before we took the break, we're talking about this particular issue in terms of irregularities and cheating, and the fact that we talk about the premium that's given in exams, and it's not only the candidates who are facing this. You see the teachers and parents looking for ways to try and cheat the system so that they can get a good performance as well. How do we solve this?
Jeff, first of all, this is an issue that is very close to my heart, because it really caused some damage in my life journey. Because on 24th December 2000, I was suspended from the University of Nairobi for rejecting the introduction of parallel degree program. And that is where all this began, in 1998, when they introduced commercialization of education in our top institutions. You know, our top institutions, that is the universities, had to get customers. Unfortunately, there was an Education Act that says only those who have performed well, that have gotten a mean grade of C+ and above, who can pursue a degree in any of our universities. So they had to get customers. How do they get customers? It's by making sure that as many as possible students can get C+ and above. And who do you target? You cannot target a child in Antontal Primary School, you cannot, or secondary school. You cannot target a child who is under a tree in Turkana, because in any sense, they cannot afford that education. Right. So they targeted private institutions, because those who were in private institutions had the money to take their children to university. And that's why there was a massive leakage, so that they get more customers. They get C+ and above students being more than 1 million or so that they can actually get customers. Because at that time, they introduced a situation whereby if you have an A and you don't have money, then that is equated to a D. If you have a D and you have money, or a C+ and you have money, you can even pursue medicine, you can pursue architecture, you can pursue any course that you need, because you had the money. And remember, those who had the money were privileged to be in very good schools. Those who did not have the money were not so privileged to be in good schools, but they were very intelligent to be able to score that particular A. And I thank God because of Professor Magoa, and that is why he's particular about this issue. He was my dean in medical school at that particular time when I was suspended. And 19 years later, actually 17 years later, when he was the chairman of NEC, he started actually solving this issue of getting more customers from secondary schools, from primary schools to parallel degree program. And by 2017, we had only 86,000 students getting C+ and above. So we're eligible to pursue degrees in our institution. Yet our regular program can observe 96,000. So it was almost the death of the parallel degree program.
So that's where the issue is.
So that is where the issue is. The issue is that I have to get customers. The secondary schools, they have to get customers. How do they get customers? First of all, to invest so much on exam cheating in private schools, because those are the people who can afford even those high schools. You cannot invest in people who cannot afford. If you are in a public institution, you will not be able to afford, because it means you are not able to take your child. That's why I'm very passionate. So that I'm very passionate about our leaders and anybody who work with the government to use government institutions. Okay. You find the CS of health, being insured to go to Nairobi Hospital, not to Kenyatta Hospital. Why do you give them insurance? Our public institutions are supposed to be free. Our public hospitals are supposed to be free. Why don't they use a whole CS in charge of health? You will find them and their kids, a whole CS of education. I'm sure Professor Magoa is not one of them. Their kids are in private schools, yet they are supposed to oversight and to make sure that they upgrade the standard of education in our public institution. How do they? If their kids will never go there.
Honorable Oda, as we wrap this up as far as the KCPE is concerned, the same issue that we're talking about in terms of what the CS pointed out, it was devoid of irregularities this time round, no cheating happening. How do we move forward so that that's not the debate every single time? Because it seems that when the stakes are high, people will do everything under the sun to try and get the best results out of it.
Yeah, just what Sangok said, it's just actually commercialization of education. And number two, as a country, fine, congratulations. They have tried this time around to try and curb cheating in our exams. But do we really need to militarize our exams the way we saw it? I don't think. This thing is a whole issue of societal upbringing, whereby a child does not belong to me or you. A child does not belong to the parent or teacher. We need to come in as a society, both parents, teachers, every single player in the education sector, to try right from class 1, or rather right from pre-primary, that is nursery all the way to grade 1, now to grade 8, as they call it, to try and instill some culture in our children, or our kids, or our pupils, and tell them it's not about, and you see, again, it all boils down to what Sangok and myself and Joy are talking about now, that we need to really try and tell kids, it's not about you getting 440 marks or getting 278 marks. It's about what you cultivate within you that will make you a great person in life. And that's what we are saying, for heaven's sake. Okay. Let's give everybody equal opportunity so that there is no this stiff competition until somebody has to steal exams. One, to be seen on top of a newspaper, and two, to try and make their school shine so that they can get more students and commercialize education. Right. Kindly, let's come in as every single sector, parliamentarians, legislators, the executive arm, their parents, everybody. Everybody is a key player in the education sector, so that we can actually cultivate out, we can actually weed out this issue of exam cheating. It's a whole process. Okay, fantastic. So it's not an event.
Okay, I want your views on that as well. You can tweet us as well at K24TV. You can also SMS us on 21222 as far as examinations is concerned. If you have any messages for the candidates as well, even as they move forward to the next phase, please feel free and SMS us or tweet us as well. Let's move on to another story that has been on the front page of most of the dailies this morning, and that is former AG workers and families banned to travel to the United States over graft. Even as we're talking about this during the break, this wasn't one of the names people would have thought would have come up in terms of a ban, in terms of graft. And people are trying to put their finger on at what point is this graft that we're talking about, did it take place? As AG, as Senator, what exactly are the details of this travel ban?
You know, and when I saw it at first, I was wondering, did Amos Wako do something that I missed or what? Because it's been out of that sphere for a long time, right, that it didn't quite, in my mind, it did not compute that we are looking at things that happened during the Moi era. Two things come to mind. One, either the US is coming to the party a little bit late, but at the same time, I think they're trying to send a message. Maybe they're firing a salvo to tell us, you know what, there are a few more coming or something. And Amos Wako is sort of the smoke signal that has been sent to say, you know what, yeah, let's start here, we are coming for you. But the thing that comes for me is when you effect such bans, it's not necessarily because somebody really wants to travel to the States. It's trying to make a point that, you know what, we are not going to do business with you, and so you are, quote unquote, an undesirable. But it brings other complications, because you might find, for example, your child gets a scholarship and they cannot travel. Or maybe you have got relatives living in the States and you want to go visit. So it's the small mundane things that you can easily surmount. What I would wish that the states would do is walk in step with the times. Because there's a time when such a travel ban, when Amos Wako was Attorney General, would have had a big impact. When was the last time? We've had how many ages between then and now? We are on our second age since Amos Wako. Like really, it's coming to the party a little bit late. And there's a question of, does it extend to his other family members, not necessarily the ones who are listed here? Right. Because our parliamentarians are famous for insisting that you should include their wives and girlfriends when you're making such provisions. Does it extend to them as well? It's one of those things that leaves more questions than it leaves answers. But to the US government, I would be, if you're walking the talk against corruption, the things that we're dealing with here and now, that are alive, they are happening currently.
Start
Can
from
we
there.
see something that is going to make an impact now? Stop giving us deja vu, because for most of us, you know, you hear Amos Wako, there's some of the younger people who are to Google, who is Amos Wako? What is he famous for? It's one of those things where maybe the ones who are older, we can remember the time when Amos Wako was mired in issues corruption. But for the younger ones, those are not the people they are wanting to see being held to account.
Honorable Sankok, even as you look at this travel ban that has been put in place, some people are asking, even if the ban is in place, is it really effective? Because as a person, there are other places he can travel to. Should we probably follow the financial trail and see if there are any accounts they should freeze on that side? Is a ban in and of itself really the effective measure they should have taken for whatever charge they found him guilty of?
Remember, first of all, US is not Kenya. It's a different country from Kenya. They have their own machinery, so of course they cannot interfere into our own systems in the country. They respect our constitution, they respect our country, they respect our representation, but they have to take some measures to make sure that those who are guilty of corruption are barred from their country so that they don't export the corrupt deals into the minds of very peaceful and very loyal and very, let me say, very patriotic US citizens. Right. But this one have brought out a very fundamental issue, that those you are Googling and those you are peddling names on the social media, USA is not dependent on social media. Those you are accusing and calling them thieves without concrete evidence are not the ones that will be used by USA. USA is a mature democracy who rely on the rule of law, who respect the rule of law, so they rely on very important information. And they have come out clearly and said, okay, the rumors you have as a country is your own internal rumors because of political hatred and so on. But the reality is that these are the people who are corrupt as far as they are concerned when it comes to Kenya. And thank you for them for banding. And you know, it will also boil down to this issue of me wanting to have my kids in very good schools, private schools and so on. I have to sometimes steal because my may not be able to afford. And that's why I'm saying, even if you are blessed as a businessman or wherever you are blessed with a lot of money. Why don't you just take a clue from me? Take your kids to a public school. Let your kid, because you can afford 100,000 per month, let your kid identify a few kids from that public schools who don't have clothes to wear, who don't have shoes to wear. Use the extra money to let your kid identify those kids and support them. There was a time that my kid in Kipsis Girls High School, who is now in the university, she scored an A-, in Kipsis Girls High School, identify a friend who was going back home because she had a school fees balance of 86,000. And she said, she was crying, we have sold everything. We have sold a quarter of the land that we had. We have sold all the cows. Even if I stay here, my parents cannot get anywhere to get this money. They identified the kid. We came up, because I was a board member of that school, we came with a few board members and decided that these kids should go back to school. How can we identify those needy students? And that needy student now is studying medicine in the University of Nairobi. If we did not take her back to school, she would have been a worker, simply because she lacked money. How can we identify them? When all the rich people will now go to private school, all the poor people in public schools.
Honorable Ouda, as we look at this particular ban that has been put in place, let's not forget this particular senator is also part of the BBI team that's the task force that was putting this particular report together. A report that was supposed to also be talking about corruption and how to bring it to an end. People have spoken about this task force for quite a while. What does this mean even as we move forward? We wait for the report, we don't know what is in it. The president said he doesn't know, but clearly, even from the people who should have put this report in place, it's not even the political class that's talking about it, it's the United States government. They're saying that there's an issue with this particular individual.
Jeff, 25 years down the line, Amos Wako having been Attorney General, Amos Wako having held so many senior positions in this country, honestly, Jeff, does it have any impact? Just come to think about it. Sonkoka said that people rumor a lot on social media who is a thief, who is not a thief. Those days we used to room about Amos Wako, which is today that US is telling us that Amos Wako is corrupt. They don't even specify. We don't even know if Amos Wako misused his operations money ya Senate alipewa juzi. Hatujui kama yeye alitumia vibaya. We are not aware. So they are not even actually giving us the integrity of what happened. So to me, 25 years down the line, my friend, it's rather too late, zero impact, and if they're going to bring another person again, when I'll be old, maybe they'll bring Sankok. We'll see Sankok on the news. 25 years. I'm just trying to think. Because I'm now wondering which position is Amos Wako holding, unless he's selling drugs. And I've never had Amos Wako selling drugs before.
But do you feel that it dents the credibility of the task force with one of their members being given such an indictment?
So let me tell you, that is US as Sankok puts it. We have our Kenyan system the way it is. Right now, why you cannot peg this thing on BBI is simple. It's because US is not telling you what exactly Amos Wako did. And you have so many people sitting in so many boards, even in this country now, who are facing, some of them even facing court cases. A court case is a court case. In the US, even just touching a woman's, just by mistake, touching a woman's private part, that can even earn you a ban.
How do you touch
I'm just telling you by mistake.
That's a very that choice of example.
No, let me tell you. Let me tell you, I'll give you so many examples. Even just drinking and misbehaving and behaving in a way that is not whatever. That can even earn you a ban. So they're not telling us exactly what Amos Wako did or what is tall or anything.
So until they do that,
so until they do that, because they have not even charged him. We've not had him. They have not told us that they are looking for Amos Wako for whatever he committed to be charged in the United States or anywhere. They're just saying we have banned him. Banned him over what? What corruption are you talking? Which corruption are you talking about? And 25 years down the line, surely. And they say US has their system is so robust and they can get anybody within hours. It has taken them 25 years to know that Amos Wako is a corrupt man.
Well, we're not sure of what point, like you said, they're talking about in that particular...
Unless maybe he misused the 3.6 million money. The 3.6 million money is given for operation.
No, the BBI money, which is 10 billion.
No, the BBI money you're talking about, then they should start by maybe arresting everybody in that BBI thing. And they're not talking about the entire BBI, they are talking about an individual. Right. So we don't know which money they're talking, the kind of corruption they're talking about. So to me, rather, even this one should not have found itself on any newspaper. It could have been just some rumor.
Well, it's not a rumor because it's actually been put there by the government, and a ban like that, of course.
But I'm saying they are not specific on what Amos Wako did, and they are not telling us which year and exactly what happened. You cannot just come here and splash somebody's name. We have no problem, which is good. But again, why 25 years down the line with all that kind of machinery they talk about?
There is a reason why criminal culpability does not have statute of limitation. Whatever time we catch up with you for your crimes, we try you at that point. That's why you find, for example, in fact, I'll use the same jurisdiction he was using. People like Bill Cosby did things in the 60s and 70s that they're being called to account now. People like R. Kelly. And it is a double standard because the President of the United States is famous for having groped people's private parts and is still President of the United States. So the US is neither here nor there. But on this particular issue, the Akashas were able to walk in this country free despite numerous court cases. They were able to maneuver their way around the system. And they were extradited, or rather they were abducted into the States. And suddenly the wheels of justice churned to a level that they even chose to plead guilty and enter into a plea bargain. That tells me that our system is not foolproof. And there are times when others see things that we don't. And because they cannot try people because they are not part of our jurisdiction, they do what they can from where they are. So I'll not fault the US government for making this decision that they've made. I will join issue with my brothers and say, by the way, this is too little too late. And if you're going to make an impact, then don't just let be one individual who we can barely remember what they did. It's not that it was not significant, what they did. It's just that it was so long ago that does it have an impact now? Probably not. In our current state of affairs, probably not. Would we want to see people who are current running, for lack of a better word, they're now showing. Would we want to see that? Yes, because those are the ones who might be seeking to go for benchmarking, or they want to go for international meetings at the UN or whatnot. So if they're told, no, you can't come in because of this, that makes an impact. Right. That makes a statement. Okay. So if they can step up with the times, maybe they would make a splash. But for where it is right now, I agree with Honorable Uda. It's a little bit too little, too late.
Honorable Sanko, quickly as we get our parting remarks this morning.
Yes, you know, in 2009, the then Assistant Secretary of State, John Caston of the US, had actually again indicated that they are banning Amos Wako. So it is not an issue that started recently. It's an issue that they thought, just like what happened in a very large and mature democracy, that if you are accused of graft, you have the audacity to even resign. But they saw that they waited for Amos Wako to resign. Instead of resigning, he's going for top position. He's now, I think he's also eyeing the governor's seat in wherever he comes from. And they decided, no, we have to bring it back again. And I think it is okay, so that at least people know that some of these graft and corruption deals that we undercut have consequences. Okay,
fantastic stuff. Now that we are at the tail end of the show, I want us to wind up, Honorable Uda.
Jeff, I just want to, as my parting shot today, I'm looking at a story on page 13 of People's Daily. It's a very sad day. It was a very, very sad day for us people in Kisumu. Jeff, I'm just telling this country, this culture of maljustice must end.
It must stop.
There's no way innocent young men were just going to offer private security. Somebody just comes from somewhere, maybe a drunkard, and just suspects that these people can be the people who murdered the person who died. Yeah, these people were just taken there and paid 3,000 just to go and offer private security. And here we are. And I think it's high time that our NIS, or rather our National Intelligence Service, must be at work. For example, a barrel like this, how did NIS not know that there will be tension in such a barrel? And this is why some countries like Uganda, Tanzania are now coming up more than us, because they could have offered at least 2 or 3 policemen to be there to help maybe calm down the red crowd. Honestly, it was a very, very sad thing, and I'm asking the government through DCI, through every investigative agency, that they must come to the bottom of this, starting from the man who asked the question, do you know these people? Because that's the person who who actually had the ill motive. So I'm just condoling with these families. I am telling them, may God give them strength, may God give them energy, may God actually appease the people of Kisumu, the people of Nyando, my friend Jared Okello. I am telling them, may God just grant them mercy. But I'm asking the government, they should not leave any stone unturned. Okay. This matter must just cap the issue of mob justice. Okay. So many innocent Kenyans are dying just because some people are begging for blood, for innocent blood from some people. Honestly, it is bad.
Joy, your parting shot this morning.
My parting shot is just to reiterate the fact that our education system is what we have for now. And for what we have, it works pretty well. It's not the best. It could be improved, but it is not the best. My congratulations to all the candidates, the special needs students who did well. I think the top special needs student had 414, which is absolutely brilliant. And just my congratulations to them. And to just give them the encouragement that I give the students at King's School, that's our school at church, is to tell them, you know what, it's just a paper, it's just a stage in life, build on it. Okay. The difference between a stepping stone and a stumbling block is how high you lift your foot. So if you lift your foot high enough, you will step over it and go to the next one. If you allow it to become a stumbling block, then this could be the end of your journey. So for all the students out there, this was just a step. You have the rest of your life ahead of you. So just go for it. You've got it in you.
Okay, fantastic stuff. Honorable Sanko.
Congratulations to Professor Magoha. And again, thank you, Professor, for making, you know, he's a professor of medicine, surgery. So for having surgical precision in dealing with our exam cheating. But on the note of the sad story about the killings that are happening in our country, I want to request in the name of Almighty God that whenever we have issues of homicide, especially when these love triangles go wrong. Please let us leave children out of it. Children are very innocent. Children are angels. They were not where you met. They were not where you disagreed. And let us not bring our differences and project our pain into innocent children. Okay. Let us leave children out of our issues.
Okay, thank you so much. That's where we wind up our newspaper review this morning. Thank you so much for making time, Joy Mdivo, Director of the East Africa Center for Law and Justice, nominated MP Honorable you said today we're calling you Father of Sankok Jr.
Father of Sankok Jr.
Thank you so much for making time, and of course, MP Kisumu Central Honorable
circumcised him.
Yes?
He had 14 days since he was circumcised.
Yes, so now he's getting into manhood.
And he's also getting into secondary school.
Fantastic stuff. We leave at that particular point. We take a break. We're back onto the side of Get Interactive. This is K24 This Morning.